Hello everyone, Tina here. I hope you're having a lovely day. Thank you so much for joining me. Well, today I am super excited. I've been invited by Altenew to be part of a blog hop. This blog hop is all about featuring a brand new stamp set. It's actually a Build-A-Flower stamp set called Parrot Tulips. It's new to the shop and I love tulips, and so Parrot tulips are just as pretty as traditional spring tulips. And I love that it's layering. So we're going to create a card with this today, and I invite you to hop along. There is a giveaway going along with this blog hop, so I'll list the links down below if you want to check it out. But this is called the Parrot Tulips Build-A-Flower set, and it comes with a brochure that is fabulous because there's some panels in here that are double-sided that you could just make quick and easy cards with, and then there's a color guide that that will kind of step-by-step guide you through the layering color process using Altenew inks, which are fabulous. I don't have any Altenew inks right now, but I thought it would be fun to create a parrot tulip with some embossing powders. I wanted to know if it would work, and it works so fabulous, and you get a beautiful shine. I do have the coordinating die set, and so we're going to jump in and create a pretty clean and simple card. I just have some white cardstock, and I'm bringing in my mini Misty here. We're going to put that in there, and we're going to take the first layer of the parrot tulip. We're going to add this to our panel and just pick it up with the lid of the Misty. I'm going to treat my panel really well with my anti-static powder bag. Since we are using embossing powders, I didn't want any extra flyaways. So I just inked up my first layer with my VersaFine ink, and then I went over it with my very pale blue embossing powder. This is I have 3 different colors of blue embossing powders, and I thought this would go perfect. This is a pale blue that it has a pearlescent kind of a color to it, and you always want to go with layering lightest to darkest. So that was my lightest blue embossing powder. Next, I'm going to take the second layer. We'll just line it. It's pretty easy to line up. Your brochure helps you line it up too on the very back side. It gives you key points to where you should line it up on the left and the right. So that's what I'm doing. And new stamps, you know, kind of have a tendency to stick to your finger. So I was having a hard time placing it down there. But I'm going to pick this up and add some Versamark to this. And we're going to treat this really well with our anti-static powder bag. And then we're going to heat emboss the second layer. Now the second layer of embossing powder that I have has glitter in it. It's a mid-tone blue, but it does have a slight silver glitter effect to it, and so it caused speckles, so it kind of looked really neat, so I just kept going with it. This is the second layer. You can kind of see how those beautiful parrot tulips are forming. I'll take this off, and then I'll grab my heat gun, make sure it's nice and hot, and then we'll melt this. So this is our second layer. It melted beautifully, and it didn't muddle like I thought it may, so I was super excited. This one has a real, almost like a iridescence to it too, the second blue. We have one more layer to do, so I'll put my panel back in my Misty and ink up the third layer with my Versamark. And I did treat my paper with my anti-static powder bag again. And I'm pressing down really good because by now we have 3 layers of embossing powder, and I wanted to have a real good impression. For my third color, I have a very dark blue, and I thought that would just be the perfect last layer for my tulip here. So we're going to go over the image, tap off the excess, a little harder here. There we go. And isn't that gorgeous? I just love the way this looks. And in real life, that beautiful shine is so pretty. I'm going to kind of tilt it so you can kind of see that shine. So you could do this with your embossing powders too, guys. There is 2 more layers to this parrot tulip. You see that inside piece to the flower? There's 2 pieces to that. And I kind of skipped that part because I was afraid, since they were so small, that the white detail that was in my flower already would get muddled. So I didn't add those last 2 layers. But if you're going to use your regular inks, I would suggest stamping those. Now the parrot does have a stem and a leaf that's separate, which is great because you can kind of customize your parrot tulip here. I'm going to stamp the first layer of the stem and my leaf, and I didn't have any green embossing powders. I know. So I'm going to bring in some silvers. This one has a little bit of silver glitter to it, kind of like the second layer of blue that I added, so I thought we'd add a little sparkle to our stem as well. Just tap off the excess, and then I'll bring in my heat gun and melt that. You can see how shiny it is, and there's speckled flakes in there too. Okay, for the next layer I have like a slate colored embossing powder. We're going to grab our second layer of our stem and line it up. It's very easy to line up, and then we'll add our second layer of our leaf, and then ink those up with our Versamark ink pad, which needs to be replaced. I have been refilling it, but need to replace that. But second layer is good to go. We are going to add that slate color embossing powder. Careful not to go over tulips. I didn't want that to get it on my beautiful tulip there. We'll add this and then to the stem, tap off the excess, and then we'll melt this embossing powder. And then our stem and our leaves are ready to go. Now it's super easy to put together. After we die cut this out, the very top of the stem goes to the top of the flower, and then the leaf you could basically put anywhere you want. But you see that sheen, how pretty that is? In real life it just looks gorgeous. Okay, I'm going to grab the coordinating dies. We'll line them up and then die cut these out and just use my tape runner to adhere my flower. I think I want the leaf off to the right side of my flower. My panel's pretty warped. It's kind of doesn't look like it, but it was pretty warped with all that embossing powder. But when I ran it through the die cut machine, it helped flatten it out. Okay, I love frames, so I'm bringing in the Fine Frames rectangle die from Altenew. I'm going to cut out actually one with silver cardstock and then another one on a panel that's slightly smaller than my card base. This is going to create those fine frames, and it's going to create a window in the middle and then a frame on the outside edge. And I'm going to use all three of these pieces. Okay, I like the Fine Frames rectangle dies because when you die cut it, you can peel away the individual little fine frame, or you can keep them together. You can make them as thick or as wide as you want. So we're gonna trim them down and add those to our card. Before we add foam adhesive behind our frame, I'm going to separate a couple from the inside here. There's 3 in total that I'm going to remove from the inside frame pieces. So it's going to narrow down my frame. This way I have room for my sentiment. Originally I was going to make a portrait card and then change my mind with the sentiment. We're going to create a landscape style card. This way the sentiment and the flower will fit beautifully. Now there's tons of sentiments in the stamp set that are customizable. There's 3 huge ones that say live, laugh, and love. That's a sentiment in itself. But there's like yourself, like love yourself would be cute. Laugh often is another, just customizable. And I chose the sentiment that says, what did I put? Love. Oh, live without limits. I love that because the sky is the limit. That's at least what I teach my girls. I stamped that with black ink, and then I used the panel that I used that die cut out along with my fine frames. Nothing's adhered yet, but I do want to use a dark blue card base. So this is going to go right in the center, and you can see I removed those 3 smaller fine frames. This way I have a little bit of blue border on the inside. Now I'm going to take my fine frames, the leftover pieces here. They're still stuck together. I'm going to add adhesive behind it, and this is going to go directly on my dark blue card base, just centering it. And then after this is centered, I can take the outline frame and we're going to pop this up with foam adhesive. This way the center rectangle is popped up with foam adhesive. Then you have the fine frames that are directly on my card base, and then this one's going to be popped up. So we have quite a few layers, a little bit of dimension, and I just think it gives a real clean look. Now I did go ahead and die cut out my fine frames once more with silver cardstock, and then I backed my fine frames with double-sided adhesive sheets. I'm going to take 4 of those, 4 of these silver fine frames, and add them around the frames that are on the inside of my white frame here. This is just going to add a little bit of extra sparkle. So basically we have 4 silver fine frames and then 3 white outside of that. I just think it in real life it gives a really classic look, and I love that. Okay, we're going to angle off our Parrot Tulip, kind of overhanging it a little bit. We're going to trim off the stem part here. I did add foam adhesive behind it, and then we're going to embellish our card with a few clear bubbles, and I'm going to use a brand new glue pen that's available at the Altenew SHOP, which I'll link it, everything I use down below, guys. But this is a nice pen. It's a precision pen, has a ballpoint tip, which is really nice, and it is 2-in-1, which means it's permanent and it's repositionable. Permanent, you want to add your embellishments while it's wet and it sticks there for good. Repositionable is if you were to add a dot of glue or a line of glue, let that dry till it's tacky, then you can repositionable. So I think that's pretty neat. I think this would be great for foils too. I'm going to add a few droplets, just keeping my card clean and simple. And I just love the sentiment. It says live without limits, and pretty neat little pen. I liked it. And then you can see how much glue you have left too before you reorder some more. But that's my card today. I encourage you guys to check out the blog hop at Altenew. I'll list Altenew's blog. Always nice to start at the beginning. And then the details for the giveaway are over there too. But I'll list my blog too if you guys want to see close-ups. Thank you so much for stopping by, guys. Have a wonderful day, and we will see you again real soon. Bye-bye.